I just started a timer which gives me exactly 5 minutes to set up a shot so I can practice my cinematography skills under the pressure of a ticking clock, just like on a real film set. So you can see the camera's there already in the middle of the room, and I've also got a monitor so I can see how the shot looks. But everything else has to be done before that timer reaches 0. So the first step is to plug in an extension cord for the main LED light so I can get that powered on as soon as possible. Now, the idea for this whole challenge comes from when I used to do these lighting tests to practice, and I'd spend hours tweaking and changing things, which is worth doing to experiment, but on a real film set, there's never that luxury of unlimited time. So that's really the challenge, to grab a couple of lights, start the timer, and see what I can do. And I promise I haven't rehearsed this. What you're seeing is the one and only attempt, although obviously I did have a bit of a think about where I'd put the lights beforehand. So I'm putting this LED on a C-stand, since that's the most flexible stand I have, in case I need to bounce it off the ceiling or position it at a weird angle, but this time I ended up pretty much just using it as a regular light stand. And as I move it into position there, just going to leave it there for now, and now that I've finally got this first light on, I can turn off the room lights. And now I can basically, this is where I got to see how much time I've already used, and I really need to speed things up. So the idea was to create the illusion of a summer's evening by having some warm light casting shadows into the background. So I grabbed the second light with a basic light stand, ready to take them outside. Now this light is a battery powered LED spotlight with a Fresnel lens, which will give us those sharp shadows so that it looks like sunlight. Now, what I found is that putting lights outside windows actually saves a lot of time, because not only does it look realistic and the walls stop the light from spilling everywhere, it actually means that you can put the camera almost anywhere in the room without seeing a bunch of light stands and stuff. It's much faster than trying to hide the light stands in the corners of the room and trying to block the light with flags on either side. So at this point, I'm outside getting the second light set up. You have to imagine it's about here, and the idea is that it will come through the window like the evening sun. So I make sure the light is nice and high, and basically just kind of rotate it until I like what I can see. There I am raising it up, and then you kind of spin it round until the shape looks good through the windows. Now, there really isn't enough time to go back and check the monitor to see how it looks, so I basically just had to peer through those windows and try and do my best with an educated guess as to how bright the light should be, using that dimmer on the light to change it. Now, I think I might do more little challenges like this, not just for lighting but for the other parts of filmmaking too, because what I've realised is that so much time on set is about moving quickly and being able to keep a cool head under pressure. Now, of course, time continues to tick along, so I'll have a quick look at the monitor, and it's surprising how decent the main light looks just from bouncing around the room. But I reckon there's still time for a little bit more. So I grab the 4-foot silk frame, which is basically just an expensive, convenient version of a white bedsheet or shower curtain. That's the cheap alternative. And the basic idea is that if I pointed the LED straight at me, then we would have harsh shadows because it's small, so bouncing light off something big instead will soften those shadows, and that's what this big white thing is there for. I've basically done variations on this setup loads of times, just getting a big white thing as close as possible and a bit off to one side. That's the quickest way to get soft, even shadows. So with another look at the monitor, and then making sure it all looks good, doing the last few tests without realising how little time is left, and then going over and doing a quick check of the time, that's when I remembered that I needed to fix the white balance on the camera. So in a mad little rush, I end up trying to change the settings without any time to do anything precise. So let's see how it turned out after 5 minutes of lighting, and that's in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So there we go. Obviously, this isn't my best work. I'd prefer to raise up that background light so the shadows are more angled, and it would be nice to do something to kind of break up that main light because it looks too clean or clinical, like a photography studio or something, rather than actually looking real. But on the whole, it works. We've got the reflection in the eye, and it still works if I get close to the camera or walk further away. So if we compare it to the available light, what it looked like 5 minutes ago, in some ways I actually kind of prefer it. It had like this edgy feel to it, even though I think those cabinets in the background are way too bright and flat. Just look at the difference between my lighting and what was there first. But on the whole, they're two very different looks, and I'm not sure that I could say my one was actually on the whole an improvement. But regardless of all of that, I think a 5-minute challenge is well worth doing. It gave me more practice at making decisions quickly, and most importantly, learning to anticipate what something will look like on camera. Practicing that intuition of whether something will work or not really can save time on set, rather than going round and round in circles trying every single different option like I used to. And if challenges like this can develop those muscles, then I guess they're worthwhile. And hey, it only takes 5 minutes, so why not give it a try? My name's Simon Cade, this has been DSLRguide, and I'll see you next week.